Hello, welcome to A Web of Stories. My name is Melinda. I'm back on the day of massive filming. And I'm here with my June book haul. I do not know how long this video is going to be. On one hand, it could be very short because my list is really short. On the other hand, I have a chance to talk a little bit more about all of these books. So do a little rearranging here, just a sec. Yeah, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time on these books. But before I get into them, I just want to talk a little bit about how I'm buying books. So this has kind of evolved a little bit. I started saying I was doing a weekly book. You know, each week I decide whether or not I'm buying books and what I'm going to allow myself to buy. And I call that my book buying ban, even though it's not really a book buying ban if you think about it. And I'm still doing that, but I'm not going to call it a book buying ban anymore. I call it mindful book buying. So I'm trying to be really careful about the books that I purchase. Are these books that I need to purchase? Sometimes it's a case of needing to purchase them. And I have a couple of those this time. Are they ones that have a very good chance of going on my keeper shelf? And that's another thing that I try to think of, because I have a lot of books on my to be read shelf that I wish I could just check out from the library, but because I was just buying books, I did. So I'm not going to talk about no buy bans or anything like that anymore. I'm going to talk about mindful book buying. Okay. And I did pretty well this month. I only had one little slip up, and that is, I got a notification from Fantastic Fiction that Alice Hoffman had new works coming out. And I was a little confused because I had already pre-ordered her next book. But it turns out that they are the second and third in a trilogy of novellas. And I had previously read the first one. So I immediately just went and bought them. They're unfortunately Amazon only, I believe. And they're pre-order, so I don't have them, but I hadn't meant to buy them. But I also in my mind realized I can only get them through Amazon. It's not something I can get from my library. So I'm actually not worried about that. I'm okay with it. But let me go through what I do have. So I have two audiobooks. I'm not going to talk about them because they're both booktube prize books other than to mention them. The first one, and both of them I got because I was not going to get them in time from the library. So I had to use a Libra credit on them. Perfectly acceptable. That is a perfectly acceptable reason to buy them. The first one is A Fever in the Heartland by Timothy Egan. I have finished that one, so it does not count towards my TBR. And the second one is Doppelganger, A Trip into the Mirror World, which I actually got the ebook out of the library and then decided to switch to audio, and I wasn't able to get that in time, so I used a Libra credit. And I'm currently listening to those. So those are my two audiobooks, both of which perfectly acceptable purchases. The next one, I did decide I was going to allow myself to, and I will do this every month unless there's some reason why I decide no, I'm not going to do it. But I told myself if there was a book in the book of the month selections that I really wanted, I was going to get it. And there was. And this is The Lion Women of Tehran by Marjan Kamali. I did previously read her book, The Stationery Shop, for a book club and enjoyed it. It was like a B+ a book for me, but this sounds very interesting. It's also historical fiction, which, you know, I like. Greg at Supposedly Fun always reads a little bit of like the first chapter. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that too. I'll read like the first sentence or two. So this one is set December 1981. I stood on the lacquered floor, a small woman in black with a rectangular name badge on my chest. My coiffed, contented look was calculated, so I'd appeared not just satisfied, but quietly superior. Interesting. That doesn't give me a feel about this book, but I have confidence in this because I know the author. And, you know, Iranian fiction is something, Iranian history, I should say. It's not something I know a lot about, and historical fiction is a fun way to learn about it. So this was my book of the month selection. And the next three books were all back orders or pre-orders that came in from bookshop.org. So I'll start with this one because you've seen it before already. Anne Boleyn, A King's Obsession by Alison Weir. This is number 2 in the 6 Tudor Queens. And people have freaked out about me using it as my example of rolling the covers. I'm sorry, I roll covers. Some people are very, very offended by that, but it's okay. It isn't that bad. And honestly, Anne Boleyn has been through worse. But I have Catherine of Aragon, and I haven't read it yet, but I bought that and Anne Boleyn at the same time. And I don't know if I'm going to purchase more of these books in the future. I want to see how these go and then decide if it's something that I'm going to want to keep or not. I did put the other 4 books on a wish list, on my Elfster wish list. So maybe someone else will buy them for me. I don't know. But let me read the first sentence or 2 of this. And it's set in 1512. Her skin was rather sallow, Anne thought, as she studied herself in the silver mirror, and she had too many moles, but at least her face was a fashionable oval. At 11, she had no womanly figure to speak of, but that hopefully would change in the next year or so. Mary, after all, was already buxom at 13. Ooh, my goodness. Well, it's Anne Boleyn. We all know what to think of Anne Boleyn. Or we all know, we have thoughts about Anne Boleyn. It's very interesting because Anne Boleyn was maligned in history. Henry VIII tried to erase every depiction of her, any trace of her. And any painting that we have of Anne Boleyn was actually done much later than her death. It was after her death. So no one really knows what she looked like. There are a few descriptions, written description of her, but they are very negative in a way that you're not really sure that you believe them. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we all have our feelings about Anne Boleyn, but we don't know the truth. Not that I think Alison Weir is the person who's going to tell us the truth, but you know, it's a take on it. The next one, I'll go to this one. The next one I have is, finally, I got number 2 in this trilogy. I had read number 1 for Historathon, and number 3 came, but number 2 was backordered. And that is Queens of the Crusades, Even England's Medieval Queens, Part 2, also by Alison Weir. So this one is Eleanor of Aquitaine, it should be. Eleanor of Aquitaine and her 4 successors. Berengaria of Navarre, Isabella of Angoulême, Eleanor of Provence, and Eleanor of Castile. So, you know, I think people have heard of Eleanor of Castile and of course, Eleanor of Aquitaine, but the ones in the middle I haven't really heard of. So that will be interesting. As someone who studied history, you tend to only hear about the queens if there's some real reason to. And obviously there is for Eleanor of Aquitaine. She was a very notable person in her own right. And Eleanor of Castile, it was a very advantageous marriage, but there you go. Oh wait, that's an illustration. I was gonna read the first sentence and that's not even the first sentence. And I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna go to the actual one. Here we go. On Sunday, December 19th, 1154, Henry II, the first Plantagenet King of England, was crowned in Westminster Abbey, along with his queen, Eleanor of Aquitaine, amid great splendor and rejoicing. So that's how we start. If anyone has seen The Lion in Winter, you know that marriage doesn't stay happy. But there you go. I'll probably save that for next year's Historathon. I'll probably read the next 2. I had hopes to read all 3 of them this year, but they didn't come in time. So, well, the second one didn't come in time, so, you know, and I can't read them out of order. And then I have, this is another pre-order, Fire Exit by Morgan Talty. I still have to read his first book, but I ordered the second one immediately. Very, very much looking forward to this. I have heard good things about it already. I may actually not even take this one upstairs and just put it on my TBR, my immediate TBR bookshelf down here. So I will get to it sooner. But yeah, Morgan Talty, I'm looking forward to getting to know him as a writer. So, you know, his first book, Night of the Living Rose. Actually, you know what? I need to bring a short story collection down here, and maybe I'll bring Night of the Living Rose down here. We'll see. And then once I finish that, I'll read this. But let's get started. Let me read you a little bit of this. I wanted the girl to know the truth. I wanted her to know who I was, who I really was, instead of a white man who lived across from her all her life and watched her grow from this side of the river. Now, you probably figure out what's going on from there. Not really a spoiler because I believe it's in the blurb, but I have heard really good things about this. It's not overly long. Okay. Now, the next one is actually 3 books, and I'm going to put them all together, which will make sense. I'm also probably not going to read the first line for reasons that will make sense. But Shakespeare. Let's talk about Shakespeare here. So I did my Shakespeare draw, which was The Merchant of Venice. It finally came. I don't know what was going on with the post office, why it was so delayed. Finally got The Merchant of Venice. However, I always buy these from bookshop.org. I wanted to maximize the shipping since it was going to have to be shipping to me. And I realized that it's like 2 more books is your best bet to kind of get the right shipping and have it all kind of worked out. So I went through and I just got alphabetically the first 2 books that I don't already have. So I don't know when I'm going to read these. This one I will be reading in July. I don't know when I'm going to read these, but I will read them because that's the whole Shakespeare thing. And these shouldn't be a surprise because, as I said, it's alphabetical. The first one is a comedy, All's Well That Ends Well. And the second is Antony and Cleopatra. For some reason, this one feels a lot heavier than this one. I don't know why that is. Oh, well. So yeah, I will probably continue to do that. If I have to buy, I do have several plays upstairs just waiting to get to them. So the next time I have to buy a play, so I draw a play that's not already upstairs, I will probably just get that one and then the next 2 alphabetically that I don't have, just to kind of keep the shipping going. And that's really all I bought this month. Now, if you don't know, bookshop.org does summer reading in July, so you can sign up for it. And if you complete it, all you have to do is read every day and then log it. You get like the least you're going to get is a 20% discount off your next order. So I am going to allow myself to make a bookshop.org order after that. I know that I am going to buy Alex Grecian's next book, which is coming out in March of next year. I'm going to pre-order that. It might be that's the only thing I get. I might do the Shakespeare draw and kind of put that in with it too. We'll see. But yeah, other than that, you know, I think I will let myself do a book of the month order. If there is something there that I really want, an indie press, if there's something there that I really want, I have one more booktube prize book I need to do, and I think I'm going to do it on audio. So I have the audiobook on hold. We're going to see if it comes in time. Then I will use the library one. If not, I will get it from bookshop.org. So yeah, this is a short video. Let's hope that most of these are short. The next video I'm going to do is my July book haul revisit, and that one's not going to be short. Not at all. But anyway, this one was short, and I'm really proud of myself for being very mindful with my book buying this month. So there you go. Did you have any great buys? Any books you purchased or brought into your library this month that you find you're really excited about? Let me know down below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Like, subscribe, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.